Well, I'm Renee Moss and I'm from Sarasota, Florida, originally from Colorado, and I work with Hands Across the Sand, and I expect for people to just come together as a big group unity to show that we all want the same thing and that we're all from the same community, whether or not it's here in Sarasota or Colorado or Alaska, because this is a global thing happening today, and I think that's a beautiful thing, just a way for our voices to be heard by coming together, and you don't even have to say a word.
So what do you think about the effort that's been happening right now and how people are handling it, from the government to localities?
I think a little bit more could be done, but I understand that there's a lot of things that we don't know and probably understand, so it's a tricky, I think it's a tricky thing to know what to say about that, because it's just such a big mess that we're leaving for our grandchildren and our grandchildren's children. And I think that, you know, people that are coming here today that aren't a part of the legislation is a powerful movement that we can work together, and we still can use our voices and just support those that need support right now by showing our love and showing that we do stand behind them in their choices, and that we want to move forth towards cleaner energy to make it our Earth a much more beautiful place, the Mother Earth that we live on. So,
what do you think of the number of people that are just starting to show up now, because it just happened? Isn't it a statement about people really want to have their voice heard and want to represent how the majority of people feel?
Oh, absolutely. I could not agree with that statement more. I think right now people are feeling like they don't know what to do, but they want to be a part of this, and this is a way to be a part of it and let their voices be heard. And the people that are showing up now, that's what they want to do. And last time, February 13th, it was a cold day here in Florida, and there were about 350 people that showed up. And that was before we're in this predicament that we're in right now. And so we're expecting a lot more people to come out and voice their opinions. And so yay, come, join.
Go ahead, Trudy.
Now, you mentioned that people met in February here, and what was that about, and the purpose of people meeting?
Well, at that time, Dave Rauschenberg, who lives up in the Panhandles, this is his dream, the Hands Across the Sand. And that started in February because legislation was talking about drilling 3 miles off the coast of Florida. And so we were coming together to say that we don't want drilling off of the beaches of Florida and that we want to move on to cleaner energy. So that was that message then in February the 13th. So, yes.
I can just imagine. We live in New England, and people have been, Cape Wind wanted to put wind turbines up in Nantucket Sound, and people were so upset with that. It's a visual thing. I think this is keeping in perspective of, okay, what are we talking about? Clean energy versus something like oil, and the devastation that it's doing to the waters. It has nothing to do with clean energy, and I think that this really makes you think about that simple word, clean energy.
I love what you just said. I couldn't agree with you more. I agree. We could even use waves for our energy.
Right.
We can use waves, and what a much more beautiful thing to look at than the oil rigs. At least we know that that's doing something positive and it's cleaner, and we're not going to end up with oil in our waters. We're going to end up with energy, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, we can't go wrong with solar energy, wind energy, wave energy. I mean, we're not destroying anything. We're just using what Mother Nature has given us in a beautiful, positive way.
That message has been trying to be said for a long time, and I think this is really bringing it into focus.
This is really bringing it into
Thank
focus.
You for your
so
good
let's
work
all
and
come join together and use our voices in a much more positive, stronger way message. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And
my name is Renee Moss, and I'm from Sarasota, Florida.
Okay, thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Julie.
All right,
thank
bye.
you.
the other day in South Tiger Bay, and hopefully we drew some people to come out.
Good, I hope so.
I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for doing this.
Oh.
It's very important.
It's not just me. I had an organization of 16 members out of political affiliations. I'm talking to people that... My name's Jenny Sue Hyman. I go by Jenny Hyman most of the time. I'm a local Sarasota resident, and I grew up here. I grew up on these beaches. I raised my family here. My girls all grew up on these beaches. I find what's happening or what could possibly happen here unconscionable, and we need to do something to stop it before it happens here. A couple of weeks ago, I heard about the Hands Across the Sand movement starting. I knew that there was one in February. I was out of town, so I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention at that point. But Renee Weeks, who's here on the beach today and is part of our organizational team, headed that one up. A couple of hundred people came out in the cold and stood. I think we're going to have a couple of thousand people out here today standing. And
it's a real call for people who are just so frustrated because we haven't been able to do anything. So
right.
It's really...
Well, this is why we did this.
Yes.
And when I went on the hand site and I saw that no one had signed up for Sarasota yet, I went ahead and signed up for Sarasota and Siesta Beach. Siesta Beach is the #2 beach in the world. We don't have any problems here. Our water's clean. The sand is white. There's little fishies and coquinas in the water right now. We don't want to have any of these oil blobs here to go on our children and walk around in the water, and the dispersants are the worst thing. So I joined hands and I decided that, you know, we would do this on a central location and represent all of our beautiful Sarasota County beaches. Now Venice, Nokomis, and Englewood and Manasota Beach are all having smaller demonstrations and gatherings on their beaches, but this is the main one, and we're representing everybody that's not at the other ones. And we're going to join hands. We are not holding hands like kumbaya. This is not an environmentalist thing. We are joining hands in solidarity to show that we are against the damages of the offshore oil drilling. We want them mitigated, and we want to develop clean energy alternatives now. We don't want to research them and test them. We want them developed and utilized now using the precautionary principle, so we know what happens if we do use alternative energies. And we want them to be safe. These toxic dispersants that they are using now on the oil, they are toxic, they're deadly. We cannot see them. Communities can't see them coming into shore. They hide the oil. They are airborne, they're in the water, and now they're in the rain. And they are toxic and deadly. We need to use big tankers to suck up the oil and to skim the oil and get rid of it that way, because we can remediate the oil that way. The toxic dispersants, we cannot remediate. They fall to the bottom of the sea and they kill everything. There's no remediation with them. The oil we can handle over time. The dispersants could kill us all. So we need to stop that immediately. If there's one message we need to get out, it's stop the dispersants. Now, if you're looking for something to do besides join hands in solidarity, you know, we all are anxious, we're all angry, we're all frustrated. So we had several organizations such as the Sierra Club, the Audubon Society, Florida West Coast Avian Society, Wildlife Center of Venice, Save Our Seabirds, the Florida Veterans for Common Sense, federal wildlife organizations are all here today to have petitions signed, a very simple, generic, no offshore drilling, develop clean energy, nothing political, but the petitions are going to go to everybody from the mayor to the president. And the other thing is you can sign up to volunteer at these organizations. You can sign up to get the hazmat training that everybody has to have before you can go out and handle any of these dangerous materials. And from there you can take the wildlife cleaning course. And these two courses have to be in place before you can go help anybody. So in an official capacity, so we can get trained so that we have a community volunteer force on the ground and ready to go. God forbid it comes here.
Yes.
And you can pray because we don't want it.
Now, you mentioned so many organizations. Do you see this as a melting pot for many different organizations to say, we really do have to be together in solidarity?
Oh, yes, we absolutely do have this. This is a threat, and it's about protecting our coastal economies, our oceans, our marine wildlife, and our fishing industry. And, you know, we don't have these problems here right now, and we don't want to see them here on our beaches. So we must mitigate the damages before we have this happen here. And then we can go help other people. But we don't want it to come here, and we have time. And right now, I'd say to everybody, come on out to the beach, remember why you came to Florida, remember why you live here, and get involved with some organization that's either protecting the environment or working towards clean energy development. And, you know, put your energies in those directions. And your money.
Thank you, and thank you for letting people know there are things people can do.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate your organization and letting other people know, yes, you can take action.
And I appreciate all the people that came out of the woodwork to help put this together today on Siesta Beach, and particularly the organizational team that has worked so hard and met and put aside every other commitment and family commitments and everything else to help make this come together today. And I also appreciate all of our local, state, and national legislators that are working on our behalf also. All right, we have to go down to the beach.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. It's time to go to the beach. Get everybody down to the beach by the yellow. This is Crossing Political Affiliations. This movement is not about politics. It's about the protection of our coastal economies, our oceans, our marine wildlife, and the fishing industry in Florida, and our way of life here in Sarasota. So we're going to share our energies and our knowledge and our passion for protecting all of the above from the devastating effects of the oil drilling. And as our great-grandchildren are going to ask in protest at some point, what did you do when the earth was unraveling? Surely you did something for the mammals, the reptiles, and the birds that were all dying. Did you fill the streets with protest? And as we continue to be exposed to the toxins, surely you called for that to stop. And what did you do once you knew? So here we are today, joining hands in community solidarity against the effects and the mitigation of the offshore oil drilling, and we want to develop clean energy now. And behind me we have the people that need to see us visually and take our message to our local governmental entities, as well as the state and the national government, and the federal government needs to hear from us also. So let me, without further ado, call Keith Fitzgerald to the podium. Keith Fitzgerald is our state representative in the Florida House District 69, and I think he has a few words for us, but only 2 minutes worth.
Right. Hi, my name is Keith Fitzgerald, and I represent District 69, which is the north half of Sarasota in the state legislature. But what I want to say to you all today is that this is not about us and you, it's about all of us working together. And we all have to be part of this. And I think you all are the most important component of holding together, hands together, to protect our shores, our estuaries, and all of the natural landscape that makes up this community. This is an issue about the environment, we all understand this. But beyond that, it's an issue about community. This is who we are. This shore, these marshlands, estuaries, that's what brought us here. That's what ties us together. It ties us together aesthetically, it ties us together economically, it ties us together spiritually. This is why we're here. When this is threatened, our community is threatened. So we have to come together as a community, work as a community, and fight for the same thing, protecting our legacy, protecting our way of life, and also fulfilling our moral obligation to make sure that this is here for the next generation and the generation after that and the generation after that. Let me say one last thing. I need your help. Immediately, as some of you know, the last couple of years in the legislature, there was an effort to try to open up nearshore drilling 10 miles offshore and inward in the state of Florida. And I worked to oppose that from the beginning. But I watched good people be sucked into that effort over 2 years when a great deal of money and effort was brought to bear. And a lot of smart people and dedicated people were taken in by that. That is why I think we need to have in the Florida Constitution an absolute and permanent ban for drilling off these shores. Can you help me make that happen? We want to have a special session to put that on the ballot this fall so you can make that happen. Help me do that. Talk to Governor Chris, talk to your representatives. Let's get that done, and thank you very much.
Holder from Florida House, Representative District 70.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming here today. What a beautiful day it is here on Siesta Key. You know, it's really wonderful when we have the opportunity to come together, join hands, and stand to protect our Florida coastline and our beaches. This beach in itself is one of the top 2 beaches in our country. It is very, very important to our community. It is a part of our soul. It is a part of our economy, and it begs for tourists to come, take their shoes off, and put their feet in its sand. The opportunity to come here today really is something that is attributed to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for caring so much about our community to be here. I thank Jenny for being the glue to putting this together. I think it's wonderful when we're able to join hands and not talk about politics. This is about our life. This is where we live. This is the quality of our life. And this is something that's very important to all of us. So thank you so much. And please, please continue to support renewable energy. Thank you.
Sarasota County Commissioner Nora Patterson, who is going to tell us about some of the things that the county is doing and has in place as good Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. We are somewhat prepared.
Well, let me start by, first of all, just talking as somebody who's lived out here on Siesta Key for 40 years, who absolutely loves this area and loves this beach. The irresponsibility of the oil companies in dealing with this is frankly just breathtaking. And we need to say enough is enough. This whole activity needs to be regulated. Mr. Rosenthal has been talking to me about the dispersants, which maybe is dangerous for our economy and our ecology in the long term, as the oil itself. I've been asked to come up and talk about what the county is actually doing. Of course, right now, our beaches are absolutely pristine. And our most immediate concern is the economy of the area, as people who aren't living here don't realize that this part of the area is so far unaffected and probably unlikely, thank God, and cross your fingers, to see the same effects as some of the other areas. But the fact is, the Gulf of Mexico is all of ours. The ecology and the economy of the state and the area is important to all of us. What the county is doing has put together all of our high-level emergency management people who are daily involved in monitoring the situation. So far, the oil is far from us. We are told that immediately the effects would be more likely to be tar balls than anything else. Those can be cleaned up. We are looking at very expensive special rakes that we can purchase to make that happen. And we have contingency contracts out there with debris removal companies who are pledged to help us, who have helped us in hurricane emergencies before. All of that hopefully will not come and play, but we will get out there and we will do what we have to do, no matter what the federal government says and no matter what the state government says. The bottom line is, please know that every one of your local governments, when our state legislature was even discussing oil drilling 3 miles off the coast, said no way. And we wrote to them. We had a unanimous vote of everybody, every elected city and county official, to say to our state legislature, this is irresponsible, accidents can happen. And guess what? So, folks, we're going to be there for you. I know you're going to be there for us. The economy of this area is so important, but even more important is the pristine nature of the ecology out there. We have got to do what we can as citizens to make sure this never happens again. Thank you.
But John Paxton also, like myself, has grown up here, and our roots go really deep.
Thank you, Jenny. I first want to start by everybody giving Jenny a hand for all the effort that she's put in to get this together. What an incredible act. She was telling me the other day that a handful of people did this and got all this together for less than $200. That'll show you. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm mad as hell. I live in a community that has spent hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in generations cleaning up our natural environment, bringing scallops back to our bay, restoring the seagrass beds, more fish to catch, and providing for our community for a better quality of life. And one single act of a bunch of morons stands to undo all that we have done over the last few years. And I'm mad as hell. They say, calm down, John, calm down. It was just an accident. Well, the consequences of issuing this permit to this agency are no more an accident than are the consequences of jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. This is an act of stupidity and an act of greed. I'm reminded of a lesson that was told to us in 1818 by the novelist Mary Shelley. The novel was Frankenstein, and the lesson is very simple. Don't create monsters that you cannot control. That's it. And that's exactly what we have done here. We've created a monster that we can't control. The monster is BP. And the person washing the monster is none other than the bride of Frankenstein herself, but the Minerals Mismanagement Services. And these people need to be held accountable for it, and I'm mad as hell about it. And you should be too. And our resolve should remain strong until we have an act of Congress, not an act of the bureaucrats who had a hand in causing this disaster, but an act of Congress to make sure that this never happens before. And these agencies need to be held accountable. Before this incident, it was impossible to tell where Mineral Management Services started and BP began. They were one in the same. This is an act of criminal behavior, and we should not stop our initiative until someone is behind bars and someone is made to financially pay and be held responsible for this irresponsible act of greed. And did I mention I was mad?
I think he expressed it very well for all of us. And lastly on our speaker list is our mayor, also locally born and grown, Kelly Kirchner.
Thanks, Jenny. I'm mad too, but I think I'm more sad than mad, and I think probably all of us, anyone who has children, grandchildren that we want to grow up here, are just as sad, and it's even more sad when you contemplate a tropical storm hurricane going through there and they're going to have to vacate and let even more blow for another 2 weeks. So it's with great sadness and helplessness that I think all of us are here, even elected officials. So we do have contingency plans, but the magnitude of the issue is obviously great. And I think everybody here should appreciate that this is not just a phenomenon of a few months. We're going to be dealing with this for decades. And so this beach that's 99% quartz beneath your feet was created 20 million years ago, before Florida was part of the United States, brought down to us by the Appalachian Mountains. And so There was a lot of time that wore on those Appalachian Mountains that created this, and it took resilience through time to create this beauty. And the question is, will we as humans ruin it? So I would just reiterate what the other elected officials have said. You know, we not only need to stay on top of this and constantly pressure all elected officials at all local levels, but we have to recognize the fact that every successive president of the United States since Nixon has said that we have to end our addiction to oil. The total reserves of oil in the Gulf of Mexico will provide enough oil for the United States to last 80 days based upon our consumption. It's really asinine for us to just continue mindlessly doing that, mindlessly destroying our environment for something that will last us 80 days. So, as Commissioner Patterson said, as Representative Holder and Fitzgerald said, and Commissioner Paxton eloquently said too, we are committed on local levels to do everything we can for renewable energy. We need your support to ride your bikes even though it's hot. Demand that your employers have showers so that you can ride your bikes. We need to do everything we can to deploy solar thermal energy to heat your water heater, to do photovoltaics on top of your roof, and continue to help the small contractors that are here locally. So every little piece is going to help, but we need to send a message to the world. And the last thing I'd say is that, you know, ironically, these tar balls they're saying might hit Jacksonville before they hit us. They might hit the Carolinas before they hit us. The only, perhaps, justice in that is that maybe, hopefully, we can finally galvanize a national movement that says enough is enough, no, and we need to move on. So I appreciate you being here, being a voice for that, and certainly myself, my family, who've lived here for our entire lives, have grown up fishing in the bay and swimming on the beaches and going out in the Gulf of Mexico. We are committed to the process. We're committed to our home and our community, and we're not going to bow down easily, and we're going to show the same resilience that created this beach. So thanks for coming. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Solidarity as a community against the oil spill disaster, and to get educated about what we can do next to encourage clean energy alternatives. We know that the dispersants are toxic and deadly. They hide the oil so that communities cannot be prepared when they come close to shore, either airborne or in the water. We should have tankers skimming and sucking the oil like every other industrialized nation in the world. The physical removal of the oil is a safe method of remediation. The dispersants are toxic, they're unsafe, and there's no remediation off the ocean floor. So, with that said, I invite everyone to please line up now against the shoreline. We're going to line up from the blue lifeguard stand all the way down to Crescent Beach, and I hope we reach to Point of Rocks. And grab everybody on the beach that you can. Bring your signs and join hands. We're not holding hands with anybody.
tight until you got back, but get out of here now. Give me a couple minutes here.
One second.